Good evening, folks. Welcome to the March 10th, 2026 meeting of the Plymouth Select Board. Pursuant to Chapter 30A, Section 20, any individual may make a video or audio recording of an open session of this meeting after first notifying the chair and subject to the reasonable requirements of the chair so as not to interfere with the conduct of the meeting. At the beginning of each meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of any recordings. At present, I'm only aware that the local scene is making a video recording. Is there anyone else who's making a video or audio recording? Thank you. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency and signed into law on March 28th, 2025. This meeting is being conducted via remote means and in person. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by tuning into the local scene, government cable access channels, Comcast 9 or Verizon 47. You can watch it as it's aired live on replay or on the local scene's website. Members of the public who wish to participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner: by appearing here in the Great Hall at Plymouth Town Hall, 26 Court Street, or remotely via the Zoom link, which is published on our agenda and posted on our website. Please join the board in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on our agenda is the Plymouth Police Department swearing-in ceremony. We're joined by Police Chief Dana Flynn. Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Golden, members of the board. Thank you for your time tonight, for allowing me this opportunity to introduce to you four our newest promotions within the department and our brand new officer. Still marching right now. Craig Provo. Lieutenant Craig Provo was born and raised in Plymouth. He attended Plymouth Public Schools and graduated from Plymouth North High School and later attended Curry College, where he studied criminal justice. Lieutenant Provo is a veteran of the United States Navy, where he served honorably as an engineer on the USS Carl Vincent. Lieutenant Provo joined the police department in 2001 as a patrol officer, after successfully completing the MPTC Plymouth Police Academy, where he was named a squad leader. As a patrol officer, he served on the motor unit locally and on the Metropolitan Law Enforcement Council Regional Response Team, and was also a field training officer. In 2021, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant, where he served as a patrol supervisor, a motor unit supervisor, and shift commander in the patrol division. Lieutenant Provo was promoted to the rank of lieutenant on January 25th, 2026, and is currently assigned to the 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift as the shift commander in the patrol division. It's interesting to note that Lieutenant Provo has been filmed in 2 movies, working as a stuntman for the 2014 film The Forever and the 2016 film Manchester by the Sea. In his service to the Plymouth Police Department, Lieutenant Provo has been awarded the Medal of Valor from the Massachusetts Police Association and the Medal of Merit from the Plymouth Police Association for his heroic and courageous actions during an armed confrontation with a fellow officer in North Plymouth. Tonight, he will be pinned by his wife, Danielle. Kyle Kreitzer. Sergeant Kyle Kreitzer was born in San Diego, California, and was raised in the Bay Area of Northern California. He is a graduate of Newark Memorial High School in Newark, California. He attended California State University, Fullerton, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and then attended the California Coast University, where he earned a master's degree in criminal justice. Upon relocating to Plymouth, Mass. In 2010, Sergeant Kreitzer joined the Force Protection Team at the Entergy Power Plant, where he served as armed security while the plant was in operation. Sergeant Kreitzer joined the Plymouth Police Department in 2014 as a patrol officer after completing the MPTC Plymouth Police Academy. As a patrol officer, he served as on the crisis intervention team and was a field training officer in the patrol division. Additionally, he served as union president for the Plymouth Police Brotherhood. On November 30th, 2025, he's promoted to the rank of sergeant, where he currently serves as a patrol supervisor on the 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. shift in the Patrol Division. In his service to the Plymouth Police Department, Sergeant Kreitzer has been awarded 2 Meritorious Service Awards, one for his courage during an armed confrontation in West Plymouth, and one for his heroic efforts in rescuing a child trapped in a vehicle during a serious fatal motor vehicle crash. Tonight, he will be pinned by his wife, Ashley. Sergeant Patrick Hicks. Sergeant Patrick Hicks was born and raised in Plymouth. He attended Plymouth Public Schools, graduating from Plymouth North High School, and would later attend Merrimack College, where he studied criminal justice and played Division II football. Sergeant Hicks joined the Plymouth Police Department in 2020 as a patrol officer after completing MPTC Randolph Police Academy. As a patrol officer, he served on the mountain bike unit and as a field training officer in the Patrol Division, where he proved to be a reliable and competent officer. On November 30, 2025, he was promoted to the rank of sergeant, where he currently serves as a patrol supervisor on the 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift in the Patrol Division. Tonight, he will be pinned by his daughter Tilly and wife Abigail. Teresa Best. Sergeant Teresa Best was born and raised in Carver, Mass. She attended Carver Public Schools, graduating from Carver High School. Sergeant Best attended Stonehill College, where she earned a bachelor's degree in criminology with a minor in Spanish. Prior to joining the Plymouth Police Department, Sergeant Best worked as a special officer for the Nantucket Police Department for 4 summers and a patrol officer at Boston University Police Department for 7 years. Sergeant Best joined the Plymouth Police Department in 2019 as a patrol officer after transferring from the Boston University Police Department. In 2023, she was promoted to the rank of detective and assigned to the General Crimes Division of the Detectives Unit. On January 25th, 2026, she was promoted to the rank of sergeant, where she currently serves as a patrol supervisor on the 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. patrol shift. Tonight, she'll be pinned by her husband, Lieutenant Michael Best of the Massachusetts State Police. Michael Hagloff. Patrol Officer Michael Hagloff was born in Plymouth and grew up in the Sagamore Beach and Cedarville areas. Following high school, he immediately enlisted in the United States Army. During his enlistment, he served in the 1st Infantry Division, 4th Brigade Combat Team with deployment to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He would achieve the rank of specialist due to his dedication, resilience, and leadership under challenging conditions. Following his military service, Officer Hagloff joined the Bourne Police Department after graduating from the 62nd Recruit Officer class from the MPTC Plymouth Police Academy. Officer Hagloff would serve the town of Bourne for 5 years with honor and integrity before joining the Plymouth Police Department. On December 8, 2025, Officer Hagloff completed required training and joined the Plymouth Police Department as a patrol officer. He is currently assigned to the 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. shift in the Patrol Division. Tonight, he will be pinned by his 3-year-old daughter, Madeline.
Good evening, officers. Congratulations. If I could have you, Kelly McKelveth, to the town clerk to deliver the oath. If you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and that I will fairly and equitably execute the laws thereof within the extent of my authority and jurisdiction. So help me God. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a state your rank of the Town of Plymouth Police Department, and I will obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as now are or may be from time to time established for the government of the Town of Plymouth Police Department. So help me God. One last time. I state your name. hereby accept the position of, state your rank, in and for the Town of Plymouth Police Department of the Town of Plymouth. Congratulations.
Now, if I could have the families come up and pin their officers. And now we have the state delegation is going to come up and present citations to each officer.
First, I just want to extend our congratulations to all of you. As most of you know, my husband's in law enforcement, and so is my son, so I want to extend my thanks to the family. I know what you go through, holidays, birthdays, all these things that you miss, late nights, never knowing when they're going to get called in. So thank you to the family for supporting your officers, and a big congratulations from myself and our delegation. So we do have citations from the State House, and I'm going to pass them out. So we have the House and the Senate. Yes.
Again, I wish to thank the board for allowing us this opportunity. We'll be back soon. We have 5 officers in the academy now. So we're working towards our goal of full staffing. And I wish to thank the families for their time. This concludes our portion of this meeting.
Thank you, Chief. And I want to echo Ms. Lenatra's congratulations to the officers who are newly minted, as well as those who are being promoted. And thank you for your service to the community. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome to stay, but if you folks were here for the ceremony and the ceremony alone, feel free to make your exit. All right, we'll move on to administrative notes. I have a request to pull out item number 1. What is the pleasure of the board on items 2, 3, 4, and 5? I think we have to vote on 1 before we do 2.
Right.
So we should probably hold on 2. Do you want to make a motion on 3 to 5?
I would make a motion that we move
Oh, 3
3
to
through
8.
8. Yeah.
Mr. Canty makes a motion on 3 to 8 to move them as a group. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Iaquinto seconds. Discussion? Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
And myself, yes. It's unanimous. On item 1, Mr. Quintel?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't support administrative note number 1 for a number of reasons. The first time somebody brought this up, and we discussed it briefly, this is not the way to do business. For a number of reasons, we won't see any savings on this, even if it were to pass town meeting until 2040. That's one reason. Another reason, it's in 11 bargaining contracts, CBAs, in the town of Plymouth, and it's plain right wrong. I can sit here and tell you what happened in 2003. Eleanor Beth was the town manager. I got elected to the board then with Mr. Tavares, Mr. Malaguti, Dr. Rushworth, and Chris Lombard. This was already on the table prior to my arrival. I took it forward and with Mr. Weber and a number of the groups, and we accomplished it. And Patrick Delarusso was a finance director. So there's different ways to look at this, and from day one, I feel it was wrong. It needs to be bargained, and this is not the way to do this. That's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quintel. I do have just a clarification. I'm glad that the clerk stayed. Ms. McElrath, it looks like that the general law requires us to call the town meeting on the submission of the signatures. What would happen if the board voted no?
That's more of a town council question. I know not only does Mass General Law state it, but
charter.
the charter states it as well. Once more than 200 signatures are obtained, the select board, it shall call a town meeting within 45 days. That's both what the charter says and state law says.
Mr. Canty?
I agree with the town clerk. I would also point out that our oath of office requires that we comply with the laws of the Commonwealth and the charter of the town of Plymouth. We have received not just the 200 required, but 219 registered voters' signatures. So by my reading of the law and the charter, we are obligated to call a special town meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes, Mr. Quintel, I'm sympathetic to your remarks in terms of the actual content of this warrant. I, that night, also voted not in favor of eliminating this, but I do understand that we have a responsibility with these signatures and the requirement to call for a special town meeting and allow that separate equal body, the executive body and the legislative body, act in a manner that allows them to fully meet their responsibilities. So even though I'm sympathetic to your remarks, I do see the need that I have to uphold this responsibility as a select board member and vote to approve this opening of the warrant. Thank you.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes, I would agree with my colleagues. I think it's our obligation to separate the content of the special town meeting discussion from the actual ability to hold the town meeting or the requirement to hold the town meeting. So I think we are obligated to vote yes on this.
I do see that there are representatives from some of our employee unions. Would either of you like to speak before the board takes a vote? Okay. Pleasure of the board on item 1.
We doing one separate from 2, or could we do 1 and 2 together?
I would like to take them separate.
All right. I would make a motion to approve administrative note 1.
Mr. Canty makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Iaquinto seconds. Further discussion? Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Abstain.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
And myself, no. Item number 2. Pleasure of the board.
Make a motion to approve administrative note 2.
Mr. Canty makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Iaquinto seconds. Discussion? Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
This ties into administrative note 1.
So we've called the special town meeting.
Yeah,
This is now just to open the warrant for said town meeting.
okay. Yes,
Mr. Cohen
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right. Public comment, is there anyone in the room who would like to register a comment with the board? Is there anyone online? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on. I'll note for my colleagues that, and for the folks at home, that we had previously planned to do 2 appointment processes tonight. Those have been delayed until next week's meeting. So we'll now move on to the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan Committee update. We're joined by the wastewater manager, Doug Pinard, and the chair of the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan Committee, Mr. Mike Hanlon.
Good evening, Doug Pinard, I'm wastewater manager. Joined tonight with Mike Hamlin. He is the chair of the committee, so it's CAC committee, and I also have a representative from Weston Sampson who will be joining us, which is the company that's doing the CWMP. So tonight we're here to update the board where we are in this process. There we go. So we're just going to go over the agenda. So part of the presentation is we'll talk about what is the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan, the CWMP, what the scope of work was, where we are in the process of this project, a little bit of the background, some of the role of the Citizens Advisory Committee, and drivers and next steps. So what is a Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan, a CWMP? Basically, it's a roadmap for wastewater management in Plymouth, and that will cover anything to do with the collection system, our pump stations, and also the treatment plant. Its summary exists of all of the wastewater conditions that we have, like I said, with not only the collection system and the pump station, but also the treatment plant. Evaluation of future wastewater needs, whether that be expansion or repairs or anything like that. Evaluation of the wastewater management options, and then also to develop a 20-year management plan. So the scope of work is to review the existing conditions, and that is also working with Board of Health, septic systems, anything with the collection system, the treatment plant, conditions of the treatment plant, things that might be needed there, and also with our 8 lift stations. Look at future flows and conditions, develop wastewater needs and assessments, identify and evaluate alternatives, prepare, recommend a plan, prepare and implement a financial plan moving forward, and conduct robust public outreach. So where we are in the project is probably, yeah, we're almost at where the Weston Sampsons will be recommending a plan. So we've given them a lot of the information. Like I said, we've worked with Board of Health. We've given them a lot of information on septic systems in town. We've given them all the information that we have on the collection system, pipe sizes, conditions of the plant, conditions of the lift station. We've assessed some of the existing conditions, like I just said. They've looked at our current flows and potential future flows. And they're starting to come back with information on some of the needs that we have on all those locations. So we're kind of at that point now where they'll be starting to give us a plan moving forward. Little of the background for like with the funding, I went to town meeting in April of '23, the annual town meeting. We selected Weston and Sampson through a process to oversee this project for us in October of '23, and they started their work in early 2024. We came in front of the select board. The select board had a lot of qualified candidates, and they chose the few that you see there: Mike Hanlon, Michelle Christensen, Sarah Greenberg, Don Williams, and Roger Jansen. And we meet with them regularly. Actually, I can turn this over to Mike and the role of the Citizens Advisory Committee, and he can tell you a little bit about some of the things that we discuss in our meetings.
Thank you, Doug. Good evening. Michael Hanlon, town meeting member from Precinct 15 and chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee, appointed by you all. So I want to talk a little bit about the role of the Citizens Advisory Committee. But more importantly, I want to talk about our communication plan, our public outreach plan, which I think is you get all this technical stuff that's going on with Weston and Sampson and the staff. We're going to work on the communication side, the softer side, I guess. So we do have a good team, as Doug mentioned, and on that advisory committee, we have 4 professional engineers, civil engineers, environmental engineers, people who have experience and knowledge in doing this kind of project. And we have one lonely PhD who wanted to be an engineer, but didn't make it. So, as Doug mentioned, our job is oversight. We are advisory to the town staff and to you. We're going to bring a community perspective. As I said, we got people with engineering experience, but we have people with community experience, which I think is good because we're all volunteers and we've worked in the community doing a variety of things over the years. So our job is to advise the staff as they deal with some of these wastewater issues, prioritizing needs, evaluating alternatives, coming up with a financing plan. And communication. I want to keep emphasizing communication because we think it's one of the most important aspects of what we're going to do. I want to talk for a minute before I get into the communication plan about project drivers. So I'm older than probably anybody in this room. I started in the engineering business 60 years ago. When I started working on projects as a much younger engineer, we basically focused on failing septic systems, and there were a lot of them. And related to that is high groundwater, poor soil conditions where the leaching fields don't leach properly or sufficiently. So, and that is still an issue today. But fortunately, in this area of the country of Massachusetts, we live in a sandbank. So the soils perk pretty well. Sometimes they can perk too well, and that can be a problem. But one of the things that's changed over my life in this business has been the amount of water quality data, real scientific data that we have that we didn't have 50 years ago. So in the interim time period, don't tell me when, I can't tell you when it started, but there have been people out there taking water quality samples, running them through these fancy machines. They can measure things down into parts per trillion. When I started, it was parts per million, then it went to billion. Now it's up to trillion, or down to trillions, parts per trillion. So that is very, very valuable information because now, as well as septic system issues, it's as much about water quality issues, water quality in our harbor. There is a slide that shows, who's got the button? Oh, I have the button. Whoop. So this slide shows some of the impaired waterways in Plymouth. We all know about Plymouth Harbor. That's the big red blob at the top. That's the Duxbury, Kingston, Plymouth Harbor, saltwater, obviously. But some of the other things, Herring Pond down in the south end of the map. In the middle is, I forget whether that's Halfway Pond or something, Billington Sea. You know, these are impaired waterways. Eel River, there's a little squiggly line there that goes into the harbor. Not everything is impaired, but, you know, the green ponds are okay. Yellow is maybe a little bit impaired. Red is obviously more impaired. These are issues that we need to deal with in this comprehensive management plan that we're working on. So back to the communication plan. We talked about this a lot at the committee with staff and the consultant, and we think that we need to, you know, we do the typical things. We do meeting minutes and agendas, and we post that stuff, and we have public comment. We allow people to come in. We haven't had an overwhelming number of people coming in, but hopefully that'll change as we go forward. But we want to reach out to the community. So we think it's important for us to go to them. Weston and Sampson is going to identify what we're calling needs areas, areas where in the community where there are problems, water quality problems, septic system problems. And we want to combine that with precinct caucuses, village steering committees, and other special interest groups that may be out there, and have 5 or 6 meetings around the community to basically convey to them, this is what we're doing, this is why we're here, this is what we're going to do, and by the way, we want your feedback. So they're going to need to listen to us, we're going to need to listen to them and tell us what you think. So we propose to start that after town meeting with a meeting with committee of precinct chairs to kick it off. And then there will be a series of these 5 or 6 public sessions around the community. And we look forward to having that dialogue with people, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout at some of those meetings. So if you have questions, we're happy to answer them.
One more thing, if I may, I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, is this is really a sewer master plan for the whole town. I kind of focused a little bit too much probably on my day-to-day and what I take care of, the 60 miles that we currently have. But this isn't just for the sewer users. We are looking at the whole town. We are looking at collaborating with potentially some private treatment plants in town. This is all part of the process. It's a sewer master plan for the whole town of Plymouth.
Questions from the board? Ms. Iaquinto?
Thank you, Mike and Doug. This is such an important project, and this whole process is really, really interesting and very thoughtful, what we've seen so far. And of course, I'm always interested in communication and change management. So I'm particularly intrigued by your commitment to provide, to do the outreach and the community outreach and get input in and give information out. I'm just curious, what kind of input would you be looking for from the community? Will you be presenting actual plans to them, or just sort of at a higher level at this point? Just to test their understanding of what you're doing and gauge their level of interest in supporting the project.
Well, hopefully, as Mike said, as we go out to the different districts and maybe we'll get some traction, hopefully we get some interest. But we are there to try to educate them on what the project is and where we are in this process, and hopefully get some feedback from those districts. Whether it be, I'm sure we'll have some individuals that won't be interested at all, and we'll have some people that, yes, please bring sewer to my area. So these are all, there's no stupid questions. We want to be able to go out, educate them, and get their feedback and apply that to this process.
And then just a follow-up question, what is the timeline for the
Could I
project?
just
I'm
add
sorry.
one thing?
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry, Mike.
I don't think this is just a kind of a one-off, we're going to have a meeting and look for feedback, because there are various steps in the process. We're kind of through it. We have the needs assessment. We know where the areas are. But the consultant and the staff have not evaluated alternatives, and put cost data on that, put together a financing plan and a schedule and all that kind of stuff. So this is the first meeting. I expect that there will be another meeting at some point when we have more information to share with people about really where the problems are and what the solutions to those problems are.
That's great. That's exactly where I was going with my second question. I was also curious about the timeline for the whole project. Do you have an idea? Is this a multi-year project that we're
Mike,
considering?
that one?
Hi, Nathan Michael, Weston and Sampson. Yeah, so we did start the project about 2 years ago at this point. We took a little we paused a little bit while we established the Citizens Advisory Committee. Now we've had a few meetings there. We developed the public outreach plan, which is, as Mike said, go out to about 5 or 6 different areas in town, go over our needs areas, which is what we've developed so far, prior to really getting into the alternatives analysis. Those meetings will take a little bit of time. Then we'll want to gather all the input and then probably go back and explain the alternatives that we have. And then obviously big questions about cost, kind of go through that in a meeting. So it'll probably go through, I was thinking 2026.
Yes.
Because we don't want to rush it at this point. We would just want to make sure we get the proper input. And as you know, if we did 5 public meetings in different areas of town, that alone will take a little bit of time. We certainly want to, move forward as fast as we can. We just don't want it to rush it, just to rush it unless there's a particular need.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Canty?
Thank you. This could be for either Doug or Mike, but could we go back to the slide with the project drivers heading and the heat map of the different? Can you describe what those different color-coded water bodies, what the color codes mean?
Yeah, so that's just so those are impaired water bodies, which is 303D list that DEP has. But in any event, basically they're coded by color. The red means that a TMDL, which is a total maximum daily limit, would need to be established. So basically that water is impaired for a particular reason. It could be a nutrient, it could be another reason. And a daily limit needs to be established.
So what is,
So the red is the one that is of concern in that particular map.
but what does impaired mean in that context?
Impaired for a nutrient, for instance, it could be impaired for phosphorus and nitrogen or oxygen, various reasons. Some could be related to wastewater, some could not be. There's many different, doesn't show any particular nutrient or type of impairment. It's just a general list.
So would I be correct to conclude that impaired means it's less healthy than it
Yes.
would be otherwise
Yes.
for one or more factors?
It could be one or more. Yeah.
Okay.
So the state has established that it's impaired. They understand that we need to remove a nutrient. It could be nutrient enriched, but a limit has not been established for many of these.
Meaning, like if it's nitrogen impaired, there hasn't been a daily limit of nitrogen established, or what does that mean exactly?
That's a whole nother process to establish a limit for a particular impairment. And that takes a while to establish. So basically this is just saying a lot of the ones on this list are just saying, we know this body of water has a concern. We are currently working on what the solution would be to fix that.
Okay.
And it's just a list from DEP. It's
Okay.
more like a GIS
So that's
level.
red. What about the other colors?
Oh, I don't, I wish I could read it. So the blue means that,
You need a copy of that? The print's pretty small.
oh, right. So blue just means no use has been assessed. So they really don't know much about that body of water. So some haven't been reviewed or anything yet. And for particular uses, Yellow is TMD is complete, which means they identified a problem and that a solution is in the works, but there's not a lot of, that takes a lot of time. That way you'll notice there's really no yellow. And the orange means an impairment isn't caused by a pollutant.
What is that? What else can impair a body of water other than a pollutant?
I'm not sure, actually.
Oh,
I don't know off the top of my head.
that's disconcerting. Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate the explanation.
Mr. Quintel?
I don't know who the question's for, Doug, or if it's for one of the other gentlemen, but have you, it's early in the process, we haven't decided what the actual remedy will be, right? Whether it's a stand-up system or, and I'm going to what Falmouth has.
Yeah, we haven't
Falmouth empties
established,
like 100% of their waste in the harbor.
right, we
or in
haven't
the ocean,
established
I
any
should
of that
say.
just yet. No, they've collected the data, we're looking at, this is one of them, like you said, the project drivers, some of the needs. We will be looking at some of those things, those IA systems.
Because I'm going to see if they'll have me. I want to do a field trip there and check it out. Which brings me to the next thing. I know it was the previous presentation with the Eel River and all that. And speaking with them, they have some concerns that, and I didn't write it down and bring it tonight, but we test for two things. I think one's nitrogen and
Phosphorus was the other,
yeah.
yeah, so nitrogen is more
And they're
impactful.
really concerned about the water downriver. And is there any way that we can do a few more tests? I don't know exactly what the test is, but I'd be more than willing to support it to make sure that the water is not being affected, the drinking water.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't hurt to,
No.
we did it in Cedarville on Hedges Pond, I believe.
No,
So-
we test the monitoring wells between the.
But their concern was we only, I think, tested for two items or two. I know one of them was nitrogen.
Yeah, no, one's nitrogen, one's phosphorus, so nitrogen
Right.
is more impactful to saltwater in the harbor, where phosphorus is more clear, clean water, clear water.
Not that I'm a
saltwater.
scientist, because I'm far from that, but
No,
the
but-
Eel River and everything runs into the harbor.
Right,
So the sewer plant off of Camelot,
Yeah.
if you will, that eventually goes to the harbor.
right.
And they
So,
say, and I don't know, but we have the people here, that by going that route, if you will, for speaking points, is safer than using the beds. I mean, I know that's not what we're here for tonight, but I've really been thinking about it, and I'm probably gonna make an appointment for a visit, because
Absolutely.
it'll all tie into this.
absolutely,
But
yep,
on my decision, if I'm here to make the decision. But even if I'm not, I still want to get the information and make sure that the drinking water is not being affected. I think that's a fair call for any resident in town. And I do understand this situation on these ponds here, because I've sat with Christine before on that. Yeah, so I understand their issues also, but I just want, and I'm sure they'd feel the same way, that they want to watch their drinking water and what's coming up in the ponds, because there has been a little shift somewhere on the Eel River, and Bill probably knows it by heart, I don't know. No, I'm kidding. But they've been watching it, and they lived there all their lives, and they brought up some good concerns to me, so I'm just passing them along, that if there's any way, I don't know if you need us to do something, a request, or you can do it on your own, to do a few more tests as far as the Eel River goes and where that's going, just to be safe that we're not affecting the drinking water.
absolutely,
I'd feel a lot better.
absolutely. And then anytime you want to come by for a visit,
Thank
just
you.
let me know.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes, as we move forward on the master plan of this capacity, it's all about information. And Mr. Quintel is, pointing out the importance of information and any added test wells, or as you move forward on the master plan, has there been is there a capability of expanding that information gathering in terms of, as Mr. Quintel is saying, looking for these test monitoring capabilities of the harbor, of the Eel River, things of that nature? Because obviously, Mr. Quintel's referencing the earlier discussion we had about the
Groundwater
treatment plant
discharge.
in the discharge.
Yep.
So obviously that's it's a part of this discussion as we move forward. You're doing your master plan, but he does bring up a very important point about testing. And is there any accommodations in the master plan for such a effort?
Well, they are two different projects, but they
Right.
do connect, right?
Yeah.
So CWP is a master plan for sewering Plymouth. So as we look at extensions, we look at possible extensions, sewer extensions, we look at potential flow, which to your point, Mr. Quintel, would affect flow at the treatment plant. So they do kind of, coincide. But as far as this project, that wouldn't be part of their scope as far as testing and things like that. That would be more under the previous groundwater discharge committee presentation, and we are doing those things. Yep.
It's just inquiring whether or not this master plan process has money available to increase the test monitoring activity that you would, that you might deploy.
Not through this project,
Okay.
not through
All
this
right.
project, no. But
Okay.
we do have things in place, as we talked a little bit about at the previous presentation, about adding some additional monitoring locations.
Okay.
Some advanced treatment. That'll be all part of that project.
The other thing is, as you start to move forward on the same line track as gathering information, obviously you'll be reaching out to all the different entities that are working on sewer-related issues that are private. There's private sewer operations throughout the town, so they're all part of that process.
Yes, so part of what we've tasked Weston and Sampson to do is to also look at some of these private treatment, satellite treatment plants that are in town.
Right.
We also looked at the Plymouth Airport treatment plant. So, and to see if there's potential to collaborate with those.
With the information they're gathering.
Yep.
So they'll be included in the process.
Correct.
The other thing is, you look at the big picture there, and there's a big red mark focused on our harbor. And I know that is going to be, always major conversation about how we're discharging the water. I know there is a meeting planned in Duxbury. There's like a harbor summit of Kingston, Plymouth, Duxbury. This Thursday at 9 a.m. over at, I'm always looking for a good meeting to go to. I don't think I can make this meeting, but I don't know if it's on your radar. It sounds like something that might be kind of interesting if Chad, I'm assuming the harbor master is probably participating in such a summit, but it does bring up the idea of the master plan and how it interacts with the harbor master and all the things that he's doing related to the harbor and our neighboring communities. So I didn't know if anybody knew about that meeting or might attend that meeting.
That I couldn't speak to. I am aware of the meeting you're speaking of, but as far as attending, no, I haven't planned to attend, but I can certainly ask to see if Dave is attending or.
Yeah, I'm sure that Chad will attend.
Yeah.
But I just, I saw that. Thank you very much.
Sure. Just another thing to note too is we talk about the discharge from the treatment plant, but also what we looked at, and I mentioned earlier, is we worked with the Board of Health and we looked at septic systems. So septic systems are a big contributor to nitrogen, to groundwater, which is, an average nitrogen from a septic system is about 35 milligrams per liter. And, we can treat that down to 5 milligrams or less. So some of the extensions that we'll be looking at through this process will address some of those troubled septic systems.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Mr. Quintel?
I love this question. Show me the money.
Yeah.
Is
That's
there
another-
grants for something like this or?
Yeah, we're always looking for things like that. We work with the grant officer here in town, and we always look for opportunities where we can take advantage of those.
I mean, because it's not just a small town. I mean,
Yeah.
everything about Plymouth is difficult, the size and trying to bring services every which way. It's not like,
No, you're right. And that does make it difficult to get some of those grants, but we still look into them anyway.
okay.
Thank you, folks, for the update. We look forward to seeing the next phase.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda, Mr. Pinard, you're still up. We'll be discussing the town of Plymouth sewer regulations.
Yes. So I'm in front of you tonight to try to have you vote to update the town of Plymouth's sewer regulations. The last time that we had an official sewer regulation in town was 1983. So before I came on as the wastewater manager, the town acquired AECom Technical Services to draft sewer regulations. They were, I think that was 2014. So these newer regs have been kind of been in limbo for a while. I came on, this was one of the tasks that were given to me to streamline these regulations and get them up to some current standards. They've been vetted well. I've had town council look at them. I've had the DPW director look at those. So after about 4 years, we're finally here to ask you to make these official. We've added, let's see, the draft that was presented was over 160 pages. So it was very complex. And like I said, when I came on, I was tasked with streamlining them to make them more user-friendly. So we took those 160 plus pages and we got them down to around 47 pages. And how we did that was we itemized a lot of the things that you see in there. We took out, originally, I think my permit for the treatment plant was in there. It still is in there, but we made a reference. Same thing with the Title V. That was all in that vast document, and we just referenced them. And then one of the things why we did that was if there's ever any changes on those regulations, we don't have to come in front of you to update these regulations so it just always references the newest regulation. So that's another reason how we were able to condense these down to a more manageable document. Again, like I said, we've had them reviewed a few times to make sure that we tried to get in there as much as we can. We've been using them unofficially with the current standards that we use. But again, I wanted to come in front of you and hopefully make these official. But I can try to answer any questions you might have. I know it's been a while.
Questions from board members? Mr. Canty?
Are there a lot of new things that you're proposing to do with these regulations, or are you just really updating them to reflect current practices since it's been since 1983 that they were formalized, and presumably a lot has changed in the
You are correct.
3 years? Okay. So just conforming to current practice.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Pleasure of the board. Mr. Quintel makes the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Canty seconds. Discussion? Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Myself, yes. It's unanimous.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Next item on our agenda is the establishment of the Plymouth 250 Commemoration Committee. Mr. Richard Quintel, Select Board Vice Chair, will be presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Several weeks ago, I brought this up, and the board chimed in. And then on the VSB, we spoke of it. Lee Filson was present, and our chairman's here, and Everett. And you saw a letter of support from Mr. Tavares and Mr. DiMacedo. So it looks like they got one representative for each of the following, and then 3 at-large citizens. I'm fine with that, but there's 4 others here. So if anyone has any recommendations or comments, willing to look at it. Mr. Cohan was going to bring this up, right? You know, he told me afterwards or during, I don't know, we were chatting about it. And so if we have a delegate there to work from our board, I would ask that it be Bill, because he knows everybody on the list. And he's good with the history of the town. So, we also set aside $75,000 at the VSB for 250, whatever they might do with it. But it's there and we should do something, so. Any other comments from the board or?
Questions or comments?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Canty?
So all of these, looks like 15 entities have been contacted and are interested in sending a representative?
Ms. Anderson?
All 15 have been contacted, and I think 9 have responded affirmatively and designated someone. I'm just waiting to hear back on the rest.
Okay.
I think the reason why there's 15 there was to have all the organizations together and promote the town as one with different events from each organization throughout the year. You know, that was the thinking of it. And didn't want to leave anybody out, you know, so I can't speak for the ones that haven't responded yet, but, you know, the ones that I've actually talked to, Plymouth, Patuxent, and a few of the others, several others are very interested. I mean, and then you ask the chamber, and, you know, the chamber should definitely be involved to support the businesses, and, you know, that's just.
Mr. Cohen?
Thank you, Dickie, for assembling this effort. You're right. I talking to people as we were kind of 250. So I like what we see here. Not as a solution from this board to that group, but I think we might want to honestly maybe making a revolution in the town. There's an organization that we might want to consider, and I think it is to have reaching out to the entire historical community, including everyone, is a good idea, and be unwilling to have this many people. I think we'll have more success if we include everybody and get everyone's buy-in, because time is of the essence now. It's obviously we're well into 2026 and we're trying to see what we can do to commemorate this. And I think I want to get all the different groups that are touching on this subject matter. So I think it's a great list. I'd be happy to act as a liaison, and we should also include the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yeah, Mr. Quintel, I love this idea. I loved it when you first presented it, and I think this is a great list. If we can get all of these people in one room, or most of them in one room with their different perspectives, I think we could come up with something really special. And I'm happy to help in any way that I can. And with See Plymouth, I'm happy to help with that connection. Whatever I can do to support it, I'm happy to do.
And think that we would remember. I'd welcome all my fellow board members to join at some point. So between the two of us, I'm sure we can keep everybody informed, and hopefully they'll join in these meetings and discussions also.
So, representatives from Plymouth Chamber of Commerce, and the Wampanoag Community, the Mayflower Society, and Plymouth Historical, Plymouth Patuxent Museums, Distinguished Visitors Committee, Plymouth 4th of July Committee. We have a representative here tonight. If she'd like to speak, I'll happily open it back up after I get through this list. America's Hometown Thanksgiving Celebration, the Mercy Otis Warren Society, the Pilgrim Hall Museum, Plymouth Historical District Commission, the Cordage Historical Society, and then 3 at-large residents appointed by the select board. We would add to that the Daughters of the American Revolution and one or more select board liaisons.
Probably keep it at this select board so that each of us can decide what meetings we want to attend board. I guess I didn't, I just leave it open to each select board member if they want to attend.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna designate a liaison, we gotta pick people.
Right.
If you don't want a liaison, then anyone can just go at any point in time. Even if we do pick a liaison, someone else can still attend.
That sounds good.
We're joined by the chairman of the VSB as well, and he's indicating that they would like to join this as well. Is that correct? Does anyone have an objection to adding the VSB to this? All right, we'll add the VSB to the list. Any other questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion to approve the committee as with the amended membership?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Quintel makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Cohan seconds. Discussion? Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Quintel?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Myself, yes. It's unanimous. All right, so as Mr. Cohan said, time is of the essence. So we do have a policy that allows up to, or allows us to advertise vacancies for a minimum of 15 days. We have been doing 30 days in the past, but given that we're almost at the end of the first quarter of 2026, I think unless there's objection from the board, I'd like to move us to the 15 days.
That makes sense.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Canty.
If an organization doesn't respond, it may be worthwhile to rescind their position so that there's not a quorum issue with the committee generally.
Yeah, so, Ms. Anderson, could you just follow up with those groups that haven't, and then give the board an update when we go to the appointment process? Does that work? Sorry, Anne Marie, I meant to open the floor. Do you want to come up to the microphone? Can you come to the microphone?
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Winchester. I'm with the July 4 Plymouth. And thank you. I think this is a fantastic idea. I do think that any community events that we can do as a full community always, it brings in so many more thoughts and ideas. So it's really helpful to be able to do this. My question to you, Mr. Quintel, is do you have any thoughts, ideas on what type of events you're looking at? Are you looking for things like July, not everything is an event, okay? So we're an event, you have other places that are just organizations, nonprofit organizations within the town of Plymouth. Do you have any ideas of what types of events, what those events would look like? Are you looking for like, July 4 Plymouth and the Thanksgiving parade to expand what we're doing? Or all work as a group to come up with events that we do together? I'm just trying to get it a little straight in my head as to what you're looking for so we can bring that forward and make it happen.
Okay, well, I know prior to this, I brought up that we allocate 50,000 for 4th of July and 50,000 for Thanksgiving celebration. And that's, and then it got me thinking and talking and, I said, it's our anniversary year. Well, what's the town doing? So I would like to promote the town as a whole. And, like the Pawtuckets can do their things. There were already some groups that are listed here that were already started to do things. But the idea is to get everybody on the same page and promote the town up front. In July, we're doing this, say, August, we're doing that, September, and have yous all intertwine with that.
And kind of help each other out with what.
Yeah, in like C Plymouth would be like the advertising. I think Lee said, and there's a new director now, so I apologize for that. That you're already promoting it, I believe, right? see Plymouth, I think Lee
Yes,
said she
yes,
was.
absolutely, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so,
Okay. And obviously, July 4 has been meeting for
yes,
several
well,
months
that's
at
the
this
day,
point.
right?
So
Isn't it
we're.
July 4th, the date? That's
Yeah,
the one.
we're coming up quickly on that, so we're already
Yeah.
well on our way as far as the planning is
Yeah.
concerned. So that's why, just because we're so close to our event, and I just want to know what the expectations would be, just to make sure that whatever we're doing as a group, so that I understand what you want us to bring forward as a celebration. That's all.
And the thinking was, after when COVID hit and, the 400th celebration was
Exactly.
largely downscaled, and when we started back up with the fireworks, it was, a little bit more bang and boom. And I know I participated in that, so I'm
Yes.
hoping we can do something a little special this year, a little bit better. And 4th of July and Thanksgiving, those two events, and the residents here really love that. They get involved with it, and it's all about that too. We want our tourists to come and visit and spend some money and help the economy and enjoy it. Hopefully it'll happen, so.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We have
Yeah.
we have a meeting next Wednesday, so I will add this to the agenda
Okay.
so that we can start talking about some ideas, and then when a meeting's put together, I will be happy to attend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen?
Yes?
Yeah, I know that the work that your organization, July 4th, starts out years in advance, and obviously a lot of institutional knowledge and effort goes into putting on the parade and all the things associated with that on that weekend. And we know these organizations do a lot of planning over a period of time. Right now, we're just looking at opportunities where we can cross-pollinate and be efficient in making sure that we, recognize and memorialize this event, and get everyone in one room talking about the ideas that they might have. So that's why organizations like yourself are a part of this process, because you have the expertise, I guess, in putting on the events.
Many, many years. Many, many years. So, yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for opening up the floor.
Thank you.
So I could ask that question.
Very good. Thank you. We'll move on now to the town manager's report. Mr. Brindisi?
Okay, good evening. Just a few items to report. So I just want to alert folks that tomorrow night at South High School from 6 to 8 p.m. is the second evening of the Children's Small Business Fair. So this was a program that was launched in coordination with the Chamber of Commerce and the Regional Economic Development Foundation. And it became so successful that the school department has really taken it over. So I believe this is the 5th year running. And so I just, yesterday, it was very successful, as it has been in years past. So for those that are interested, just know that tomorrow night at South High School, the second night of the business fair, Children's Business Fair, will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. Just a quick update on the northern construction project on Water Street. So as I reported in the past, that Northern is back doing the repairs on Water Street. Things seem to be going well so far, slowly, but they are moving forward. We do have a completion date in June. We are striving to be out of the ground and everything closed up by Memorial Day. So we will keep the community apprised as to the progress on that project. And then relative to other projects here in the community, so we've talked in the past about the Route 80 Cemetery project. That project was supposed to begin this past fall. We ran into a few challenges with the Mass Historic Commission. We feel like we've overcome those challenges. We've submitted our application, a permit application to Mass DOT. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we'll be able to have a groundbreaking ceremony sometime in April once the ground thaws. So looking forward to the groundbreaking of the Route 80 Cemetery. And I believe next week we're going to be naming the cemetery, so we no longer have to call it the Route 80 Cemetery. And I just want to let folks know that the DPW continues to do its work to recover from the blizzard from now 2 weeks ago. But we have 80 miles of gravel roads in this community with one grader. And so we continue to get calls, folks living on those gravel roads, to have the DPW come up there and patch those holes and make it smooth. But just bear with us because we have one grader. The grader's working all day long trying to get to those streets, but we have 80 miles of those roads. So we'll get there. We're just doing the best that we can with the one grader that we own. And then, as you know, if you drive around the community, there's lots of debris, tree branches, yard waste, you've seen in fronts of yards. So we're working with the DPW so that we can hold a yard waste drop-off day. But that's going to take a couple more weeks. We're hoping by the end of this month, we'll be able to announce that for a weekend where folks can bring their yard waste. So more to come on that one as well. But I just wanted people to know that we are paying attention to this. We know that debris needs to be removed, so we are planning for that. And then some bad news, snow and ice deficit, we're tracking. We did submit MEMA reimbursement from the blizzard. We are hoping to get 75% reimbursement. We totaled that storm alone was about $2.5 million just from the town of Plymouth. But in total, when we look at our snow and ice deficit, we're looking at about a $3 million deficit. So we'll be working with the finance director and her team on bringing back to the board a couple different options on how to cover that deficit. So that'll take place in the fall town meeting. And then the last thing I just want to report is the open meeting law training we had set up for boards and committee members was obviously canceled because that was the week of the storm. We have now rescheduled that training, which will take place in this room on March 26th at 6 p.m. So again, those boards and committee members who did sign up or maybe couldn't attend the last training, we have rescheduled it to March 26th at 6 p.m. here in Town Hall in this room. So pending any questions, that's all I have for this evening.
Questions from the town manager? Mr. Cohen?
You touched on the snow removal and the costs associated with that at $3 million. But obviously, is there a reimbursement or any assistance that we get in tackling that number? Or
Yes.
so how is that? How does that work?
So what we asked our departments early on before the storm even started to start tracking your costs associated with this. And it could be anything from just removing snow or pushing snow to maybe vehicles that were damaged, for example. We know we lost a generator. We're actually, the Memorial Hall, I talked about Memorial Hall and having to replace that boiler. We're actually going to submit that for federal reimbursement as well. So we're going to submit as much as we can. Right now, we've totaled about $2.5 million worth of potential costs. And so we're working with the state MEMA office on that. But usually, honestly, it takes anywhere from 12 to 24 months to get reimbursement if we are awarded the reimbursement. But we feel like we have a strong case. And again, just to recap, we submitted $2.5 million worth of reimbursement costs.
I just wanted to kind of emphasize that this number's there, but we are applying for this federal reimbursement under the act of the governor declaring a state of emergency in the boiler as part of the Memorial Hall as part of that strategy. So I just wanted to touch on that. The other thing I wanted to touch on was that I saw in one of our presentations tonight, it said Select Board Liaison Silvio, the Assistant Town Manager. I know that he no longer is, I guess, working for the town of Plymouth, working remotely. And I would like to know where we are in terms of how we plan to proceed in the replacing of the assistant town manager. I think that's a critical thing in terms of making sure that we reach out to as many people as possible and do a widest possible search that we can to find the qualified person, because Silvio, obviously, a very qualified individual who served the town on a multitude of levels. So I just want to make sure that we have some strategy that at some point you can update us on how we will pursue that vacancy, because that is an important job.
That's right.
Here in the town of Plymouth. Thank you.
Mr. Quintel?
Derek, two things. I want to say thanks, shout out to the DPW. Today on the 7 or 8 roads I traveled, all the potholes were full. They filled them all in already, which I thought was, I'm sure there's a lot that aren't, but they're out there. Yeah, no, they're repairing them. And just one thing, on the corner of Court Street and Cherry Street, there's a signal light that's knocked over, I believe damaged from the storm, but the only reason I'm bringing it up is it's still live, and there are wires showing at the bottom. So
Court and Cherry, the
right next
signal
to
is
the
out.
CVS. Yeah, there's some kind of signal lamp that's over there. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but the wires are out and it's alive, so I just, kids go to school, all right, so
Yeah. Okay.
that's it for me. Thank you.
Mr. Cohen?
Just one other thing. It's obviously just a congratulations to the staff and all their efforts during the last 14 days. It was nice to drive around Plymouth today and see all the residents coming out for the first time from Plymouth Beach to Stevensfield to Nelson Park and our waterfront to see people getting out. So it was nice to see that we were returning to normal in some capacity. But obviously, there's a lot of work to be done in following up. But it was nice to see that Plymouth came out on the sunnier side of the effort.
Select board discussion, new business? Mr. Canty?
So I have a few items that I'd like to see added to our agenda in the next period of time. So one being, we've talked about this in other contexts, but we've had an opportunity to sit down and meet with them, and I think we have the starts of a deal in the works, and I think it would be an important next step for an important open question in the community, and that would be adding a discussion about making the fill an orchestra in residence at Memorial Hall, whether that be in an open session or an executive, depending. And then related, and this would be in an open session, an update to the board on the efforts to stabilize Memorial Hall. Obviously, we put some money to make sure that the building envelope is sealed and it's not getting worse while we figure out a medium and long-term plan. But with the news of the boiler and also the storm hitting and being as severe as it was, I think it's just important to have an update on the status of that particular work. I would also like an update to the board on our current SHI number and our pursuit of safe harbor, temporary and long-term. I know we're in 2 years right now, but we want to stay in safe harbor for as long as we can, ideally getting to the 2020 census number and getting ahead of the 2032 census number so that neighborhoods can again maintain control of the developments that occur in their territories, which is very important to them, so that the character of individual neighborhoods can be preserved and we can provide affordable housing that works within the community. And then we also had discussed, lastly for new business, we had discussed having a workshop about a debrief, either a workshop or a debrief about the storm and preparedness for future storms. I think it would be a benefit. This is separate from a traditional agenda item, but I think it would be a benefit for the board to have a site visit formally. I know we can go down and ask, but formally have a site visit to the DPW, the fire, police, the EOC about storm response, so we can look at the equipment, hear from the people that do the work, understand the current process better, and have a more intelligent conversation about next steps. And I'm particularly interested in their responses to these three type of snowstorms: a 3-inch, a 6-inch, and a 24-inch. I think a 3-inch is like the first time that they have to do some serious work of any kind. 1 or 2-inch, this is New England, we can just drive over that in most instances. 6-inch is a decent storm where you might see some school closures, you might see some other difficulties, and obviously 24-inch is a pretty significant event, and we've seen that not once but twice in the community this year. So those are the things I'd like to see in the near future.
Other new business? Mr. Cohen?
Yes, I just wanted to reiterate some of the things that just to make sure there, Jade and the chairman have it on their radar to include in the agenda. And that was, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I want to formally request it to be put on the agenda, and that is a facilities task force, the creation of a facilities task force for the town of Plymouth to look into how the town is caring for its buildings, its parks, its equipment. I'd like to have it put on the agenda to look at how we're doing that as a town And would it be more efficient if we declared that department to be independent and not within the Department of Public Works, but maybe a separate entity answering directly to the town manager? Because this issue of the conditions of our buildings and our parks, and especially after we invest all this money in updating different parks, we want to be on top of the maintenance of these operations. So I've mentioned it before, I've mentioned it to my fellow board members in the past. I'd like to see if we can get it on the agenda and have a discussion about this idea of creating a facilities task force. The other thing I wanted to touch on too, I know Dickie has mentioned it and I've mentioned it, and the condition of the 1820 courthouse, and making sure that that we are focused on the general maintenance of that building as we move now into its 7th and 8th and 9th year. We need to be prepared to take care of that building. And I know we have some plans, the town managers, proactively looking at the cupola, but I also want to see if we can have a larger conversation about some of the resources associated with that building. And then thirdly, I'd like to see if we can get it on the agenda in the near future to talk about affordable housing. I think that the town of Plymouth, we've talked about it. I know all my board members, fellow board members are passionate about this subject matter, the affordability of housing in Plymouth, and looking at how the town of Plymouth addresses that issue internally. Maybe we can look at its current operations and see if we can look at taking those resources and utilizing them more efficiently under a possible division of housing and community development. So it's something I'd like to see on the future agenda, a discussion about the possibility of creating a division of housing and community development, utilizing some of the resources right now that currently exist in community development, the Housing Authority, the Redevelopment Authority, the Housing Trust. We know we have these entities already working on this issue at Town Hall. Could there be a way of utilizing them more efficiently and giving this identification? So it's just kind of an efficiency talk on affordable housing in terms of what the town could be doing. I also have looked at our Conservation Commission. As you know, I like to go to meetings. I attend their meetings and I see at different times the different people that are providing services to that commission. It's an important commission, and I'd like to put the Conservation Commission on one of our future agendas to see how we can make sure that that commission is operating at its highest possible level. I know we've been struggling with some staffing related issues and haven't been able to talk to the town manager at different times, and I think it's something that we should start to look at, because the town not having a highly functional Conservation Commission does put us in a disadvantage, especially when we're talking about water related issues in the town of Plymouth. We're concerned about water from the Eel River to the ponds of Plymouth to the harbor. I think this is part of that discussion, so I'd like to include that on a future agenda. And then finally, I'd like to see, I know we're working, we have going after that MVP grant to help us pay for the downtown facilities, resiliency planning that's going on. I think what we want to do is in preparing for that grant, in preparing for that planning process, I want to focus on Town Square. Obviously, one of the more historical locations in the town of Plymouth, and I'd like to see us have on the agenda in the future a discussion about the resiliency plans for Town Square, and how we can make sure that that project moving forward embraces all the information that we have about the square and how we should treat it as we move forward to improve its surface area. So those are the things. I can send something over in writing. I was kind of thinking, making sure that I had everything right, so I can always send the chairman or Jade my notes on these new points, so you can have exactly what I'm thinking about. That might help.
Yeah, you can send them to Jade directly. And I would ask that anyone who has an agenda item that they're requesting, that you provide supporting material like Mr. Quintel did tonight for the 250th committee. I would ask that if you have a proposal that you want to put forward, please get that in advance so that Jay can schedule them at the appropriate time.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Any other new business? Si Quinto?
I have something that's not an agenda item, but since Chief Flynn is still in the room with us, I think I wanted to bring this up. Hi there. So back in January, when the town adopted the chief's federal immigration enforcement policy, we had committed to developing a one-page simple summary of that policy that would be suitable for a community-facing document. So something that could be distributed to the immigrant community, translated, of course, distributed to the immigrant community, something that would be available to all of our residents, really, as a very simple, here's what the policy is and isn't. So over the last couple of months, I worked very closely with Chief Flynn and with Deputy Chief LeBreton, and we've come up with a one-page summary that was just approved this week. So I'm just going to share a copy of this with all of you here. The idea for this is that it will be posted on the town website alongside the full policy. And we're still working out the logistics of that. But it will also be available for different community groups to distribute to their constituents too. So that's ready and available. And Chief, I do want to thank you very much for your help with that. I think that this is a really strong piece, and it's really because of you and Deputy Chief LeBreton taking the time to help pull this together. So I appreciate your help with that. Thank you.
Mr. Quinto?
Yeah, going back to Kevin's, Mr. Canty's EOC updates, why don't we all as a board go for a training session there? Because all the department heads, all the players would be there. They used to be. Do you still do that with Mr.
Yeah, I think
Doug
you're
and-
referencing like a typical tabletop exercise.
Yeah, down there, and then we can
Right.
all ask the questions. You'll all get firsthand. I mean, I'm going back in the years of time with the power plant, but, you know, the rule was you went there and your family went that way. That always bothered me, but it's part of the deal. So, but I think, you know, there's steps when you do the press conference, and of course, now we have a press person also, so it's a little different. But even I'd like to get brushed up on it. So I think we did like the field trip there, right to the center, and you can everyone will be there, get everybody there or a delegate there, and pretend like you're having an event, you know. I mean, like, you know, where the staging areas are, it's, you know, North High School, then the second one, then if it's really bad, there's a third one, where the staging areas are. I mean, I can't name them all, but I will give you this. I called Eric before the storm, and I said, are we all set to have the staging area? Is the shelter going to be open? And he said yes, and I just, you know, then the snow came. Because I think it's hard to an event because of the weatherman, you know. They usually don't get it right, but this one, they were pretty much on the money. But I think, and I said it before, I want is to train. It's really true. It's every board member should be trained. After the next election, if there's new people, they need to be trained. It's just, it could be any kind of event. It can be a tornado, a flood, but, and, you know, I really feel strong about it. And I think that would be more beneficial because you're like a hands-on guy, right? I mean, what do you think?
Good. So I'm fine with that being a major component of it. I do think there would also be a value because one of the conversations we've had is about the equipment we have and the equipment we don't have.
Right.
So I think we should also go to DPW and look at that, you know, this is what we have, this is what they all do.
Yeah.
This is the condition of that equipment. This is how many we wish we had of this thing or
Like
that thing.
generators?
What generate, but also we only have one sidewalk plow, we have one grader, you
Yeah.
know, we have this many heavy trucks, this many medium trucks, you know, and talking about, we're not gonna be able to take it from where it is to where we want it in a year, but talking about how we can go from where we are to where we wanna be responsibly over time, and like and prioritizing what are the chief needs of the community to respond. I think snow events, I think other storm events are only going to get worse as climate change continues to occur. And so being able to prioritize that while also living within our financial means, I think is important. But without seeing what we have and what it does and understanding that and talking to people that use it, you know, it's kind of abstract. So
Yeah, I'm in with it.
yeah.
I still think, like you say, if we do all the parts.
Right.
And then we can get, because there was a few things we didn't have.
Yes.
But I have to say, Mimo, was it, that you called in on the guard? They brought some heavy equipment in fast, and you notice a difference, like, in a day, how much they opened up. I mean, it still
Yeah.
went on for a couple weeks. And another question we have is, when people's internet is out, they have no way of connecting to anything, online, or no Wi-Fi, they have nothing. So maybe, I don't know if reverse 911 still works or not, but I mean, so I think it warrants a good conversation with that, or maybe
Yeah.
there is an answer, but
When
as
things
I
like
sit here, I don't
like
know.
radio broadcast, because you could still have batteries in a radio, but you might not have Wi-Fi, right? So there's different forms of media to reach different people and
But at
different-
least we can have it in the plan.
Correct.
That's
Right.
really the
Correct.
answer.
Yes, agreed.
Letters? Old business? Mr. Cohen?
Yes, old business. I mentioned this before. I know that it's, I think that the chairman was working with Jade to see that attached to the agenda at some point, but I'd like to look at obviously, we have a role as water commissioners, and there is wastewater advisory committee. There's obviously, there is the wastewater master plan that's underway. So we do have a number of entities here in the town of Plymouth serving this board when it comes to water-related issues. So I'd like to put on the agenda this idea. It started with this idea of reconstituting the Water Conservation Committee. But I would like to bring on the agenda a discussion with my fellow board members, how to pursue this issue as water commissioners, and dealing with these wastewater related issues with these entities. We're going through this master planning process we saw tonight. It would be nice to put on our agenda a discussion how we interrelate with these three different committees that are serving this board, and how we want to have them work more efficiently together in their advice to us. And I just think that we at some point put that on the agenda for discussion about that effort. The other thing I wanted to put
Mr.
on.
Cohen, real quick, before we move on to your next item, are you asking to change the agenda item from the reconstitution of the Water Conservation Committee, or?
It would be, I guess it would be, I would leave that to the pleasure of the board if they want to reconstitute this. But yes, in the lines of reassembling that committee, and also the interrelated other committees that are working with our board. There's there's a master plan going on right now, and there is the advisory committee, and so those two entities out there working on water-related issues, and then we have this idea of reconstituting the wastewater. So what I want to do is roll it into one discussion and see what the pleasure of the board was and how they want to proceed.
Okay, so you still want to pursue
Yeah.
the reconstitution, you just want to add to that discussion a broader view of the other committees that touch that work?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, I will send.
Yeah, so
Jade.
I just want to remind the board members that if you have an agenda item that you've requested in the past, you can check the status of
Yeah,
its
I did see.
date
Yeah.
on our tracker.
Yeah.
So if it's I think it's 2 weeks, I have to assign a date.
Yeah.
So within 2 weeks,
Right.
you'll see a date there.
Okay.
And it'll be heard within 60 days, but Jade can update that particular agenda item. I would also say that the policy states that the person requesting needs to be involved in the shaping of what that agenda item looks like. So feel free to reach out to Jade directly to work on that.
Yeah, but I'd be happy to not only forward this to the chair and Jade, but to work with Jade in putting together the supporting documents for that night, and continue talking to my fellow board members on how they see something like that developing as we work towards it. But I would also like to add a update on the I know that we've had some discussions with the Wampanoag Great Herring Pond tribe. Those discussions have gone well. I think I just wanted to put them on a future agenda to maybe engage the president in maybe a public discussion on the direction that we're thinking of. So I'd like to put that on a future agenda, an update on the subject matter of our overtures to the tribe and how we're going to proceed. And then finally, well, not finally, I got one more after this. I would like to get an update from the Open Space Committee and the Trails Committee and how they're working around the town to connect these different resources of the town. So I'd like to put on a future agenda a discussion with our Open Space Committee and our subcommittee on trails, networking, and connecting. And I'd like to put that on a future agenda. And finally, we had a very interesting discussion last Wednesday. We, as a board, had a workshop that was dedicated to budget oversight. I know that during that meeting, we made, we discussed taking it back to the board into one of our regular sessions. So I'd like to put that on a future, make sure we have that on a future agenda, and that is the follow-up to our workshop regarding budget oversight. I know staff was going to work on a few things related to that. As a result of that meeting, I know staff was going to come back, so this is really something that we would coordinate around the staff's compiling of the information that we requested during that night. But I wanted to just make sure that we had it on the radar to have an agenda might have focused on that subject matter, budget
I think we did
oversight.
that for April 7th. Yeah.
Okay, there we go, April 7th. Excellent. All right, thank you very much.
Other old business? Mr. Canty?
So I also had a few items that I wanted to follow up on. So we previously talked, and we mentioned at the workshop last week about the 3 articles that I had proposed articles for a special town meeting in the event that the signatures were verified. They are. The warrant is open. I did have a meeting with town council and the town clerk about that. And we also looped in an assistant attorney general to ask a clarifying question. So the good news is we can do what the articles are seeking to do, which is to move town meeting and to move the date of the election if we want to. So I would just ask, obviously that one is more time sensitive because of the nature of it.
Yeah, we'll have that next week.
Yeah, and I've already submitted updated language for that, so. And then I previously asked, and I did follow up with Jade previously about it, about the discussion about the nuclear host community litigation related to dry cask storage. For those in the public that don't remember, the operators or decommissioners of a nuclear power plant periodically sue the federal government because they were promised a federal repository to ship nuclear waste to. They recover money for the expense of having to store it on site because they were not supposed to have that expense. And a representative from Holtec at one point reached out to me to see if we would also be interested as a host community in joining, either doing it ourselves or with other host communities to sue. In the short term, it could get us some money. In the long term, it could incentivize them to actually fulfill their promise of a repository. That would likely be an executive session. And then we touched upon, but did not go into detail, about a discussion about creating in-house economic development. We mentioned it in passing during the joint meeting we had with the foundation, but I'm hoping for a discussion in depth about, do we want to add staff in the future when we're able to do that? Do we want to update job descriptions? Do we want to look at contracting services for that purpose? Or do we not want to do this? Do we not want to pursue this? But I think having a discussion about that as a board would be meaningful. Also, and these two are related, a discussion about how to develop a more streamlined process for businesses to navigate town regulations. So if you're going to open a business, what would it take for you to do that? Who do you have to go to? What do you have to do? The paperwork you need, the requirements. And I'd like to see it for like a prospective theoretical restaurant, a retail store, manufacturing, and like a service industry, like a hair salon, something like that. so that we know what those regulations are, and then what, if anything, we can do to streamline that process. Related to that would be a discussion about developing a townwide guide to permitting, the various permits that people need to do for various purposes, so that we can make town hall more user-friendly, whether you're interacting with us in person or whether you're interacting with us virtually online. We have a reputation, earned or unearned, of being difficult to do business with. And I think examining those processes, what is required, what pain points exist, how they could be alleviated for business owners as well as residents, would be a meaningful update and something that would be worth our time in exploring. So I would ask that some of them are a little past when they were supposed to be assigned a date, but I know we had a storm, so it is what it is. But I just want to reiterate those for clarity. Thank you.
Other old business? Ms. Iaquinto?
So last week I brought up a request to examine options for solid waste disposal, and I know that caused some painful memories for some people, thinking back on the last time the town tried to solve for this problem. But I did have an opportunity to have an informal conversation with James Downey, and we just started brainstorming some different ways we might think about this a little bit more creatively, and maybe come up with some new ideas, which may or may not work, but I still would like to keep it on as an agenda item and not have it fall off, just because it does bring back some painful history with some people. And Mr. Quintal, I know that you were very much involved in that the last go around. I didn't know if you had any interest in partnering on that, or if you'd.
No, you know what? There's 5 of us here. We all bring different things. If it's something you want to pursue,
Okay, I'll
me
take that
pursue.
as a
right?
go forth.
Yeah, no,
and-
let's see
okay.
let's see what comes out of it.
Okay, I
If
just
it
didn't know.
goes south, you'll be the first to know.
If you-
and I'm all right
well,
with that.
Well, it's just a brainstorm.
But I mean, you don't know until.
Exactly,
It
exactly.
could be all different things that you're thinking, or
Yep.
what you're looking at as
Yep.
to oppose what we were looking at. We were looking at fee, recycling,
Yeah,
there was grants involved. You see the purple bags everywhere.
yeah.
That was part of the election came and that got flipped. So we have all these bags, but,
Well, maybe we can make
look at
use
it
of the
again. It could
bags.
be something different.
Yeah,
Your
so-
concerns or your constituents' concerns could be different.
Okay, all right, we'll take it
You
forward.
don't need my
and see if
permission,
we
but
can- Well, I might
I'll look
come to you
at
for
it,
some
you know.
history,
Yeah.
if that's okay. Okay, and then Jade had let me know that the e-bike education and communication plan that we wanted to present will be scheduled shortly, so cool with that. Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Canty makes the motion. Is there a second?
A second?
Ms. Iaquinto seconds. Discussion? Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Quintal?
Yes.
Mr. Canty?
Yes.
Ms. Iaquinto?
Yes.
Myself, yes, we're adjourned. Thank you.